and let us all do we can to build a better future. Let's get things started with our awesome show. And we're going to start this segment with an update. With an update.
Yeah, okay, fine. That's better.
Yeah, with an update with some stories that Lainey Peterson covered on the Thursday show. We covered on the Thursday show on how basically you have people at risk of being evicted. There's no doubt. We've covered this. So many other independent media networks have covered it as well, that people are at risk of being evicted. 30 to 40 million Americans are right now at risk of being evicted at the end of this year. And also, again, more and more Americans are stealing food, not luxury items or anything else, and it's becoming a growing problem. So we got 3 great videos or 3 great links. You can check them out in our show notes below. Case Study QB, upload this on Twitter. But let's start off with the first video segment. And again, folks, these are going to be difficult to watch, but Americans are struggling, and we have to help each other out.
And they're difficult to watch not just because this is corporate news.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that goes without saying.
Yes. Again, follow Case Study QB on Twitter. FaZe, let's play this first video.
Housing crisis is already here. The night before Thanksgiving, California Highway Patrol officers, CHP, in riot gear went door to door to evict more than a dozen families who had moved into vacant state-owned homes, keyword being vacant. Officers clashed with activists who accused the government of failing to provide shelter for people in the middle of a pandemic. Joining me now is V. Serna. She and her daughter had just moved into one of the state-owned houses in the neighborhood where the evictions took place. V, thanks for joining me. I got 2 questions for you. First off, you're unemployed right now. How hard is it to find a job in California, even before the pandemic, and how much harder has it been now?
It's been extremely hard. I've worked at the same place for the past 12 years, so I haven't really had to look for a job in a while. But right now, I'm at home homeschooling my daughter, and you know, I would have to take a remote position. On top of that, you know, my daughter needs a lot of one-on-one instruction, so it's just either way, it's just tough.
How hard is it to find housing in California?
Oh, housing in California is, it's a joke. The rents are crazy. There's a million luxury developments going up constantly, and, you know, just a myriad of people being displaced and a growing number of unhoused people on our streets.
Where are you right now?
Right now,
Can we pause it for a second? Can we pause for a second?
My apartment.
Okay, here. I got some real fundamental problems with this reporter, this pundit, asking these questions. Why don't you show a little bit more freaking emotion? I'm doing the best I can not to swear, but, how hard is it to find a job? How hard is it to find a house? Why not instead ask this, how many other people are you seeing that are struggling with the same problems you're dealing with? How bad is the economic situation on the ground? Show some humanity, because this isn't just some one-off thing. This is a woman with a daughter put in an extraordinary situation that's out of her control, and millions of Americans are dealing with this. We need universal basic income, housing as a human right, Medicare for all, and we need to have the internet as a free public utility. That might offend some people, especially amongst the liberal blue checkmark people who say, we don't have time for big ideas. We need big ideas because you have people squatting now in state-owned houses and then being evicted by the police. What crime did they commit? What was the problem that they did? Someone tell me, what law did they break? Oh, wait, they don't have any money. So I guess if you're broke, you go to jail, you get left out in the street. At the height of a pandemic, you know, we haven't beaten this virus yet. Would it kill that reporter to show some humanity? Obviously it will. Sorry, folks. I don't mean to go on that rant, but that's just, like, I only could take so long of just somebody being inhumane and not caring. That is a person. Talk to her about the problems.
And let me just also throw in there that, first of all, I just want to appreciate that they have what seems to be a real person on there. That's so rare. I just want to kind of point that out for the sake of it. But at the same time, the subject that we're talking about are, like, I don't know who this woman, she said she's been working 12 years. She still has a job. So she's in decent spot. She still has a job. She just has to homeschool and do remote work. Shouldn't they have talked to some of the people that, I don't know, got kicked out of that housing that the police went to? or I'm sure they would be happy to speak on the issue, or maybe someone else. If the topic is about how hard it is to find jobs and homes, can we talk to people that maybe have a job but no home, or home but no job, or neither?
Yeah, and just a side note, again, I'm seeing Gray Walker, whatever man, Monarch, Gamer for Life, all of you commenting, Alexandria. Look, folks, I love driving to the studio. It's been a 3-year journey to have this. You guys have also helped us out too, but what I am seeing is more and more people living under these viaducts and bridges. I'm seeing these tent cities be put up in vacant lots. It's very real, and I know that there's nothing I can do at this point except we all got to step up and we start shining a light on this. So Nancy, wherever you're at, maybe it's time for you to start feeding the people. Let's play the rest of that video. Sorry to interrupt.
Apartment. So my situation is that about 3 years ago, my apartment was purchased by a investment firm from Silicon Valley. I'm in Los Angeles in a highly gentrified neighborhood. They've attempted numerous times to evict me at no fault of my own. And at this point, not having a job, I owe.
Well, she doesn't have a job then.
No,
Okay.
she doesn't have a job, no. But she's had a job for 12 years. Hardworking citizen, too. Let's play the rest.
And our current tenant protections are expiring at the end of January. So as it stands right now, February, I will be expected to pay my full rent plus start making payments towards the back rent to stay here, which is just not feasible right now.
Nope.
I know you could hear this last segment that I was doing with Garrett Haig talking about the negotiations in Congress. What's your message to Congress?
You know, we're not going to wait around anymore. They've been dragged.
Because we should rewind it back what a response is. But I would say, who is your congressional representative? Who is your United States senator? Like, do you know who they are? And maybe have them available and say what words you want to say to that representative or U.S. senator. What do you want to say to Congress? I think we all here. Can we get the camera on me? Hey, Congress, you've been on vacation a lot during this past year. Only one time $1,200 check. Here, I got another one right for you. Maybe it's time for you to start caring about the people, because what the people should be doing right now is protesting in front of your offices, your homes, any business relations that you have, just to make you guys realize that you're not going to get away with this. We deserve and are entitled to so much more. No one should be going through this. Let's play the rest of that.
Dragging their feet for months. Here we've been waiting for years on lists for housing in shelters, and we're not going to wait anymore. That's why myself and 20 other families took that bold action to occupy these vacant state-owned homes in El Sereno. These homes were taken from the community, and we believe, it's such a misuse of resources to let these homes sit vacant, rot, and then use state CHP to guard and take people out of vacant homes. Makes no sense.
How's your daughter?
My daughter's okay. I think, it's been tough for a lot of kids, not having that social interaction. She's, we've been through a lot, and she has a lot of anxiety. And she's getting, support for that, but it has been tough.
So I just want to say at the end of that, I got to sort of run by my own words. For corporate media, I'm rather pleased with this segment, just for the standard that they usually operate at, because I said, why don't they have this specific group of person in? It turns out they did, and I was not aware. So I got to hold myself to that and say, okay, that's good. I'm glad that they did that. I agree that the questions obviously could have been better, but it is corporate media, so to expect that is, I would almost say unreasonable. Is like the fact that they had that interview is like, oh my God, I'm still sort of like, good, keep going, that sort of thing.
Just a little bit more humanity.
Just like maybe more often, more than once a month, more than once a year, do something like that. But this is the story that, we've been covering
But
for
we're not done yet, though.
a year, and we've been talking about this, and I mean, I'm glad that they at least covered this and talked about these issues, and I like that they seem to have a real person on there. But, you know, having one of these segments every month is unconscionable. It should be a much higher percentage of their feed. And I really, if there's one thing I do wish she said, is that, you know, something along the lines of, you know, as time goes on, guillotine insurance will get more and more expensive.
Exactly. But we're not done yet, folks, because here's another follow-up to a story that Lainey Peterson covered as well. Vase, let's play that video. Again, it's disturbing to watch.
Are looking around, and frankly, some of the centrist Republicans they're negotiating with are saying there are state and local jurisdictions everywhere that really need help. You have transit systems that are on the verge of collapsing. I mean, even just here in Washington, they're talking about, you know, completely cutting the metro system that serves downtown D.C. Republicans argue that this is a problem that's mostly experienced in blue states and blue cities. But I think centrists in both parties are looking around and saying, no, actually, I mean, you remember those Michigan Republicans came to Washington to try and talk to President Trump about the election, and instead they pled with him, please send us money to help shore up our finances. This is, you know, a problem that is affecting everyone. And frankly, there's more agreement on it. They seem to have struck a deal on state and local funding in that bipartisan group. So that means liability has always been the stickier piece of this. And you know, why is that? There are a lot of interest groups, businesses, trial lawyers, obviously. But think about if you're a worker. I mean, there have already been lawsuits around that. There was a meat packing plant in Iowa, for example, where people were ordered to go to work in the beginning of the outbreak. And a lot of people got sick. A lot of people died. So Democrats are looking at this and saying, OK, you're going to say that blanket any company that doesn't follow the rules, that doesn't provide PPE, that doesn't go along with local ordinances, they're going to be immune from lawsuits. They don't think that that's acceptable. And that's why McConnell drawing this line in the sand is so incredibly controversial. But again, I mean, just as you and I are talking through this, you're down in these weeds that have trapped lawmakers and are leaving Americans stranded. So I think your point's the right one. You know, how do they figure out how to just move forward, make sure that these programs don't expire for people? Because, I mean, there's reports. The Washington Post had an absolutely heartbreaking story yesterday about how people stealing food is up in the pandemic. Yeah. Like, people are shoplifting food. And they talked to one store owner who said, you know, we deal with this from time to time, or we used to. But now, you know, I don't call the police. I stop them. I tell them, please don't come back. But they look at me and they say, well, I was just hungry. And what do you say to that? So, I mean, that's where we are as a country. And it's really, I mean, we're the wealthiest country on the face of the earth. I mean, and this is where we are.
Only now you figured it out, because
I think they finally saw the show.
Yeah, I guess Morning Joe is a fan of Hard Lens Media. You know what I find sickening is that, you know, we have money for all these top 1%ers and a joint strike fighter can't fly at night, but we can't feed our people. But yet we're always told Venezuela, Cuba, Colombia, Bolivia, they're all communist countries. They're long lines, food lines. Let's play this next video, because now here you got Fox News wetting their pants because socialists are taking over.
Our left socialists and progressives gaining ground in the 2020 election, with nearly 90% of those candidates winning their races, according to a new report from the Heartland Institute. Joining me now to react is New York Congresswoman-elect Nicole Malliotakis and Michigan Congresswoman-elect Lisa McClain. Good morning to you, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nicole, I'll start with you. What's your reaction to this?
Well, look, what's happening in New York City is you have socialists that are primarying moderate Democrats, or in some cases, pretty liberal Democrats, and they're taking them out and building their coalition. And what's happening is Democrats are responding by moving more and more to the left to placate that radical left fringe out of fear that they're going to come after them next. And so it's a very dangerous, it's very bad. In New York, six additional state legislators for the Socialist Party will be heading to Albany in January. They're coming up with a slate of candidates for the New York City Council. And this is how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is spreading her influence and starting right here in New York. We need the Democrats to join us in shutting down the Socialist Squad and supporting our police, making sure that they're properly funded, and not kowtow to them when they come with these radical demands.
Yeah, Lisa, remember
So
when
if we
Bernie
pause for a quick
Sanders came on the
second,
scene and was...
I really want to quickly quote Ayanna. I was trying to think of a quibby thing to say, but I think you already beat me to it. Fancy words for listening to the public.
Yep. Well done. Well said, Ayanna. Let's play the rest of the video.
was touting socialism, and everyone was just shocked. Well, now it's spreading like wildfire. Socialists elected to the state legislatures. If you look at the map, Connecticut, 38. New York, 23 were just elected. Illinois, 22. Minnesota, 21. California, 19. All blue states. But is that shocking?
That's shocking, but I take a little bit of a different approach.
Okay.
I echo what Nicole says. However, if you look at the big picture, probably the biggest picture is if America was really going and really buying into this socialist program, they wouldn't have elected Joe Biden as their presidential candidate. They would have elected Bernie Sanders as their Democratic presidential candidate. So I think that speaks volumes. As well as this, let's take note. Another thing to add on top of what Nicole said.
Okay, so I just want to, point out, it's always very funny, like, where AOC is such an interesting triangle. Conservatives hate her. In fact, they make freedom squads, their own nicknames and such, to try and stop her, even though they aren't doing anything besides nothing that the Republican Party isn't already doing. You have Democrat establishment people are sort of having this uncomfortable relationship with their side that we got to work with these goddamn people that we don't agree with. And then we on the progressive side are like, come on, guys, why aren't you doing more? Why are you selling out? I just think it's sort of funny that they've triangulated themselves in that spot. If they get everyone to dislike them to some degree, I have to say they're doing something right. But
Yeah.
that's besides the point. It's hysterical that, again, don't you guys believe in quote unquote democracy? And if people are voting for them in higher numbers, doesn't that mean that their ideas are winning? Doesn't that mean that they're winning in the marketplace of ideas? Isn't that a thing that's happening? Meanwhile, moderate Democrats, which are basically Republicans at this point, are all getting phased out. Maybe it's just sort of working. And it's a really sad thing that it might take, and well, it's not even might take, it's what history shows is usually how it happens. When things get really bad like they are now, it takes people going, I lost my job, I lost my house,
I lost my dog.
I guess maybe I should probably help reorganize the government to help people like me that now that I'm the people that I used to berate. So we've said on the show in the past that, hey, things are bad enough. And not enough people are dead in the street. Not enough people are being kicked out of their homes. Not enough people are losing their jobs. It takes times like these to get that done. And it's a real shame that we couldn't just do it properly, fix these issues so we don't have to do this. But this seems to be the way that America has traditionally worked. It took the Great Depression to get the New Deal put out there. The problem is we have a decrepit old man that is replacing a decrepit old man. So it may not work as well, but that's why 2024 is going to be even more of an issue. And that's why right now we need to do everything we can to convince people, although it seems like the world's convincing them for us, that this is the right path that we're choosing.
And I think I just want to end it here and have the final note to the story before we move on to our next segment. Look, it's going to get worse. And unless people start realizing the fact that we are being screwed over by a system that doesn't care for working class families, I don't know what it's going to take for people to, to say enough is enough. We're being screwed over. Neoliberal economic solutions and austerity policies will not help working class families. These policies have been crippling us. And if these politicians actually gave a damn, they would have done something years ago. People are stealing food now. People are now squatting in abandoned homes. People are now struggling just to make ends meet. And the thing is I think our government officials and our law enforcement agencies don't realize that when you make a person really desperate, they will push back aggressively. They're not going to be silent and obedient little children, be like, oh, wait, we were wrong. Please forgive us. No, it's going to be a pushback against these traditionalist politicians that have been stuck in their bubble for so long, that speak in their ivory towers and then write little articles and saying how tough it was, even though they have 3 homes and a whole network of people backing them up, plus a 6-figure salary. I'm looking at, you MSDNC with your reporters and how you just have no emotion at all. People are dying, and this is a real fundamental fact. You know those bread lines that you talked about in other countries? We got them now here in this country, and it's not because of socialism. It's not because of communism. It's because of these corporatists that have owned our government, that own our politicians, that own our media, and are not telling the people the truth. We've been lied to enough. We've been abused enough. No more.